Ladies and gentlemen, Tag and Brag Nation, we are back. Feels like it's been an eternity since we've recorded one of these podcasts, and it feels even longer since I've recorded one with you, bro.
It's been a minute.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
I mean, it has been a minute. There's a lot that's changed since we last recorded one of these. You are off. You're officially off the market.
Tagged out.
You, well, Elena's tagged out. I guess you're tagged out too.
Yeah.
Doe tags are all occupied.
DMP tags are no longer available.
Meat's in the freezer, baby. The meat is in the freezer. Well, I think from myself and all of the Goose Chasing Nation. My gosh, that sounds kind of good. Tag and Brag Nation, Goose Chasing Nation. I think from all of us, we want to send a warm congratulations to you and the missus. God bless. Let me see that finger.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah, throw that finger up to the camera. Yo, look at that thing.
Got my rubber on right now.
He's a banded duck. You know, those
are straight down from northern Canada.
Banded duck. Those are sought after. You just gained a point or two. No, but Dino got married a couple weekends ago. It was a beautiful weekend. Family, friends, kind of a destination. Not really for you so much, but up in Western New York. And yeah, it was a blast. Shit, I had a lot of fun, a little too much fun on the wedding night, but that's neither here nor there. That was to be expected.
No, the whole weekend was incredible.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
I mean, it was about as fairy tale of a wedding as you could get, I think. And just having like a little bit of a destination and having everybody kind of in the same spot for 3 days, like that made the whole weekend.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because you put so much time and work into planning that, and just doing it in one day is, obviously that's what most people do, but it goes fast.
Yeah.
So you want to get in the group together for a weekend is you at least get to soak it in a little bit longer. It was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, even from Thursday to Sunday went fast. Like it was like blinked and it was done.
Yep.
And
they all say that's how it goes, and damn it, that's how it went. But yeah, I'm glad we stretched it out over the weekend because it needed it. It was it needed it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was well deserving for you and Elena and both families. And
you get done with a day, like one day, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even get a chance to talk to this person or rap with this person. Like I didn't even, so at least stretching it over a few days, you get time with everybody. And yeah, it was awesome.
It was awesome. The food was good. Drinks were cold. I mean, shit, they had a photo booth, ice cream bar, donut wall. You name it, they had it there. It was crazy. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the donut wall. I was spending a little bit too much time at the bar. Neither here nor there.
I got one massive bite of a donut that someone shoved in my face there, and it was incredible.
But I heard they were monumental.
Didn't get any ice cream. Pissed about that. But
I didn't either.
Talking to so many people the night, like I said, the night goes so fast, and boom, you don't get ice cream.
The dance floor. I've never been to a wedding before where the dance floor was literally, you couldn't fit one more person on it from the start of when the band started to play until the end of the night. And then everybody was pissed that the night was ending.
Yeah.
And then the hotel, and then we ventured to the hotel bar. There was 2 bartenders that were still working at like 11 or whatever it was, 11 or 11:30. And we were like, you guys are staying naturally. And the hotel bar was raging until 3 a.m.
I
Just
don't
out of
know
control.
how they let us do that.
I think they were just thoroughly impressed with the performance and the stamina from, a solid 75% of the people.
I mean, 2 or 3 of the people running the venue said that was the nicest, and like they just said that that's the best wedding we've ever had here. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a cool compliment.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
But it was like I said, everybody was so engaged in like celebrating you guys and in dancing, partying, just keeping the night going that it was hard not to think that.
Good shit.
It was
You want
good
you want to
shit.
you want to do it all over again.
I would do it
I
again next year.
just don't want to plan it all again.
I bet.
Not doing that.
Just run the whole thing back, get all the same people in the same places, same
Just
time next year, and we'll
resend
do it
out.
again.
Yep.
And that's it. And the suits that we rocked were just phenomenal. Those tan suits, and then you had the ivory on with the fucking gold. Woo shit. You looked like Pablo Escobar.
The crew did look good.
Whole crew, girls and guys. It was a friggin' crew. You show anybody them pictures of the wedding party, and they're like, holy shit. Was anybody else invited to the wedding, or was the whole wedding just a wedding party?
Pretty much was.
But yeah, it was fun. Right on the lake, beautiful weather.
Yeah, the day was awesome. It was supposed to be shitty, and it was beautiful. Couldn't have been better wedding weather, because you worry about late August, could be a 90-degree day. You're sitting there on a ceremony about to pass out, but 75 degrees and sunny, partly cloudy, whatever. It was awesome.
A great day for Dane and Alina.
Hashtag Dane and Alina.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Well, that was good stuff. Fun memory. I can't wait to see more photos, videos, all that good jazz, because that was, that was one for the book. There's no doubt about it.
Should be coming out here soon. We got one of those, instead of doing the guest book thing where you can like write a note and sign your name, we did one of those telephone things where you leave voicemails.
Did you listen yet?
No, we didn't get it back. So you send the phone back.
Oh, and then they send you
said
like
2 weeks. So actually, it's probably,
dude, it's
I
gonna
bet you
take you.
this week we'll probably get it.
It's gonna take you 2 weeks to listen to that shit.
Oh, I said that. And like it's gonna be never ending, because multiple people sat on it for 5 minutes just leaving voicemail after voicemail.
I hope the people that have the phone company listen to some of those, and especially some of the ones later in the night, because I left one that got a little dirty. And I saw Uncle Randy on there literally as the place was shutting down for like 10 minutes. I'm like, Lord only knows what's going on that, on that freaking phone right now, because he's not going to remember, and that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, you're going to have to send a couple of the good ones our way, because I definitely want to hear that shit. That's going to be funny.
Hopefully I get it this week.
But yeah, it was kind of crazy. Kelly and I moved places literally the week before your wedding. Flew up Wednesday. Wedding Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Flew home Sunday night. Packed the truck Monday. And drove up to Uncle Jay's. Literally picked him up. Had Kelly, Uncle Jay, Nelly in the car, stacked with stuff, and literally at 9 at night, we left for North Dakota.
It's been go for a couple weeks here.
It's literally just starting to breathe around here, but man, it's been a blast. North Dakota getting up there early season. I don't know. There's nothing like it. There's just nothing nothing like it. That it's an 18-hour drive, but that drive the whole time, your anticipation is through the roof. Like, you just can't wait to get there, can't wait to see what the crop rotation is and where you're going to start to strategize or start to put trail cameras, whatever. And literally, we got up there Tuesday. We left at 9 on Monday night. We got up there at like 3 on Tuesday afternoon. And by 4 o'clock or 4:30, we already had a couple cameras out and soaking. And the chase, well, the chase wasn't technically on, but the chase was on.
So he's on.
But
So he's on. Yeah, yeah, I only got a short taste of it this year, which is, gosh damn it, you want more.
you always want more. I mean, I got the full taste. So we went up. Uncle Jay, Kelly, and I went up. Got up there Tuesday. Uncle Jay stayed through Sunday. He hunted Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All those vlogs you can see on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page if you haven't been following along already. And then Dino and Elena flew in on Monday. So Dean got to hunt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And they flew home Thursday. I hunted one more day and we drove home Friday. But yeah, I mean, it was an awesome trip. Unfortunately, came home empty-handed. A lot of tag soup, but that wasn't for a lack of trying, and wasn't for a lack of well, I don't know if opportunities is the right word, but wasn't for a lack of encounters and hunts to get your heart thumping, that's for sure.
Yep. On them, but weren't on them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were on them. I felt like we got into the deer right away. Trail cameras, started popping off the first night. Second night, same thing. And yeah, I mean, we were probably on deer quicker than we've ever been going out to North Dakota.
Yeah.
So the anticipation and the hopes and everything were very high. When Uncle Jay was there the first day of the season, the actually opening morning, we had a piece of non-posted that we hung a camera, literally the last camera that we had in the bag. We had 7 spots that I knew we wanted to get cameras out and, see what was going on in those certain areas, at least in the vicinity of the certain areas. And we had one more Moultrie Mobile. And all day on the second day we were there, I'm like, man, I don't know where to put this camera. I don't know where to put this camera. Uncle Jay was just like, feel it, just feel it, like let the energies come to you. And at the last minute, I was like, I know a spot. Dean and I have hunted. Actually, I don't even know if we've hunted there before, but we've had a camera in there numerous years. We've seen some pretty good bucks in this area. And I'm like, let's go bonsai up there and see, and just, see what it's about, see what the crops are around it. And if we like it, we'll put a camera in there. It was surrounded by beans, a lot of cover, a lot of sloughs. And so we threw a camera in there, and literally like the next morning on opening morning, there was a really nice 9-point in full velvet in daylight, like at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And so we had a plan together, the day before where we were going to hunt. And after those photos, like that plan quickly changed. We were like, we got to get an XOP in there. We had already hung 3 stands the day before. So we had already really had our options set for us. And we were like, that's the opportunity that you wait for in North Dakota. Like that morning photo, especially in daylight, is like the trigger to say you have to, you really need to go hunt there. He's close.
Yeah.
If they're on camera in daylight in the morning, especially this time of year, they're likely not going very far to bed down. So we slipped in there We had a little light breeze and we slipped in there literally 15 minutes, found a tree, got an XOP up into the tree. It was a money spot. And Uncle Jay went in there that night. I think he saw 6 total deer, but never saw him, which was kind of shocking. But even after that, like it was a run and gun thing. We were kind of chasing the cameras and doing what the cameras were telling us to do because that's in
So
a
we've
quick
had success out there.
well, yeah, it's how we've had success. And in a quick trip like that, you can't really take a day off. If the cameras are telling you to be in this one spot, you can't just ignore that. You've
No.
got, for him, he had 3 days to hunt. For me, I had 7. You had 3. Like, you can't ignore those signs.
Right.
So we kind of chased it around a little bit, and I don't know if it bit us at all, really. But I don't know. I came back with a little bit of a emptiness feeling, a feeling of just unfinished business, I guess, for a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
different reasons.
yeah, and you specifically when you're hunting a really good deer and you're just hunting that specific deer all week and you've had close opportunities and he does, and he's still there. It's like shit, you know.
Yeah.
You had to go home, but he's still right there. We're still getting pictures of him.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, that was the tough part about it was he showed up in daylight one day when I zigged and should have zagged, or actually our original plan was Uncle Jay and I were going to be hunting the 2 stands that we had on this specific piece of property. And once again, morning comes around on a different piece, and like there was a nice buck, probably the number 2 on the hit list, showed up right at like 6:30 in the morning, and you could see light in the sky in the background. We knew he had to be close, so it was like we got to go hang a stand in this spot, and on the spot where I was sitting, there was 2 different spots on this specific property. I was kind of going back and forth between the 2, but the spot that I ended up in was where this buck that we called Delante was frequenting the most. He hadn't even been on the other camera, which was probably about a half mile, maybe
yeah,
a little bit more than that away. And so like nothing had really been on that camera. So it didn't make sense. Uncle Jay and I all for the first 3 days were saying we wanted to go sit that property together. But it just didn't make sense based on what the trail cameras were telling us. So we went in, hung another XOP once again, super efficient, got it up in a tree, quiet, got out of there, felt good about it. Uncle Jay's going to be in the wheelhouse. I'm going back to the spot that I sat on opening day where I saw a nice buck and where this Delante buck had been frequenting. I'm sitting there 15 minutes before shooting light ends and get a ping on the old Moultrie Mobile app, and he's standing in front of the other camera. Never had been there before. Never had been down that way before, at least since we had been there. We had a camera up at that point for 5, almost 6 days, and he had never been down there, and he shows up in daylight. And Uncle Jay got bombarded in his spot at dark and unfortunately didn't get a shot at the one we were after, but still, it's just like the cat and mouse game. After that, you're like, okay, it's cool that he's there in daylight, but you kind of in the back of your mind, you kind of feel like you missed an opportunity because on a deer, on a mature deer like that, there's just only so much, especially with the weather the way that it was. It was 95 plus degrees for 5 out of the 7 days that I hunted up there. Like
yeah, that's hot.
just like crazy hot. And the crazier part was the deer, we were seeing deer every night. And the other crazy part was like our buddies got buddies from the breaking point, got buddies from the rise. All of them are shooting deer. Like all of them are getting on deer, are seeing deer, good bucks, and killing good bucks in this heat wave. So
I mean, when it's 90 degrees for 3 straight weeks, like the deer we've been out there before in the 90, like we've seen bucks. They're gonna
Yeah,
move. I don't know. They're just it's they don't get as frequent of weather changes out there. So, these deer are on their summer patterns. They're gonna move in daylight still. They might just be closer to water or whatever the case is, but it definitely cools down the last hour, but holy shit, 90 degrees that's tough. It's tough getting in there at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you're just
sitting for 3.5, 4 hours. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
in blistering heat.
the nice part was there was some breeze like a couple of the days. It was never it was never really ever just like still heat. The one day that it was super still was after the cold front, and saw a bunch of deer that day too. Um, but yeah, I mean, then Uncle Jay left and you came in. Obviously, had to switch up the spot. Like had to go to the other spot where he showed up in daylight. Like how do you not? And there was another really nice buck in the spot that you were hunting that had just showed up like a day or two prior. Really nice buck actually. He was already shed, so Dean went after him. I went back after this buck we named Delante, and I mean, I saw a bunch of deer, had deer right under me, right at dark, the lights fading. I'm like, man, I can't believe we haven't caught a glimpse of this deer. And no sooner did I say that. Actually, I take that back. I didn't see a deer that night. I was literally talking to the camera going, I can't believe I'm about to get skunked. And I looked up and he's coming through the beans at like 40 yards. Just came out of this tree row at like 40 yards. And at that point, there's literally like 2 to 3 minutes left of shooting light. And even less, I mean, actually, I there's probably 5 to 7 minutes left of like legal shooting light, but less for the camera.
Yeah, it's that time of year, even out in North Dakota when it's so open. Like if you're in a tree row or anything, the foliage is so dense.
It's
When you're
dark.
in the woods, it gets dark. I mean, it's like sometimes it's especially like this in Ohio, Tennessee, but 30 minutes after sunset, your
You're done.
cam you're well yeah, you're officially done, but your camera light is done 20 minutes after sunset
Yeah,
at
yeah,
best.
at best.
So,
It
yeah, it
goes
gets real and it goes fast. Like when it hits that 15-minute mark after sunset, I'm talking about when the leaves are on. It's just
right,
like every minute you're just like, wow, I'm done. It's done.
right. And that's what I was going through. The time was ticking, and all of a sudden he's in front of me. I got him at like 35 yards in the beans, and I thought he was going to come into the tree row. Like most of the other deer come right into the tree row, literally right beneath the stand. I mean, 15 yards. And he circled out in the beans a little bit farther, like 30, 35 yards, and he got to a spot where like he was trying to like he was basically trying to get downwind and come back in. And if he would have committed to the trees right when I saw him, I probably could have got a shot off. But it ended up, he tried to circle me a little bit. I thought he was going to get my wind. He didn't. He ended up coming back in, and I got stuck in there, and all of a sudden got bombarded by deer. I was literally stuck in there, and this is the day before the cold front is coming in, so they're calling for like nasty, nasty storms at like 10 p.m. And I mean, at that point, I think sunset was 8:13 or 8:11 or something. So legal shootings 8:41 or 43, like basically quarter to 9. And so at that point, it's right around that quarter to 9 point. He's there. Another little buck's there. There's a couple does right beneath me. It's the fourth day of the hunt. Like we're literally smack dab in the middle of the week. I'm not getting out. Like I'm not moving because I don't want him to know that I'm there. Like he's not gonna beat me. So I'm basically just committed to hanging out in the tree for as long as I need to before, he gives it up. And dude, I'm facing, kind of facing west, and this storm is rolling in. And like
It
the
was
lightning,
right at dark. I was even the last half hour. I was seeing the lightning in the distance coming.
dude, this lightning was coming, and it was coming quick. And it was like every 4 seconds, it would be lightning,
Yeah, it
lightning.
was a lot of lightning.
After getting stuck in there for like 20 minutes, I'm sitting there, and I'm literally the only way I could see him like moving around in the beans right by me was because of the lightning flashes. Like I got the binoculars up, and the lightning would flash, and it would literally light them up. Like, so I'm watching, I'm like, wow, gosh, what is this deer doing? A couple of the doe trickled off up the tree row, and the wind started to pick up. And now I'm like, this is not great. I mean, I got a pretty healthy walk out to the truck, and I still gotta, like, I hadn't wrapped any of my stuff up. Cameras are still up. I didn't want to move and make noise because I did not want to spook this deer. Like, I was adamant, I'm not gonna let this deer beat me. And dude, he hung out there for probably a half hour, close to 40 minutes, to the point where the wind started to pick up, and it was a constant, probably 20 to 30. And it was lightning every second and a half to 2 seconds. And you could just feel the front it was here. It was here. So he finally trickles up the tree row on the one side, walks right through my wind, right through my wind. Meanwhile, like I said, I'm watching. I can see this because I'm watching in the binoculars, and I'm watching him in the flashes of the lightning. Probably being in a tree stand at that point is not the safest place to be. But once again, don't try this at home, kids. Neither here nor there. But I wasn't going to let him beat me. He gets out of sight. The little buck that he was with is still right under me. And I'm like, get the frick out of here. So I'm like wrapping up my stuff because I knew like this storm is here. It's rolling in. They were calling for like quarter size hail. They were calling for winds up to like 60 miles an hour. And I get down. The little buck finally trickles off. I get down, and instead of walking down the tree row like I would getting out, I went behind, like literally went right out the backside of the tree row into the beans. And there's like a little crest in the hill of the beans. So I went up and over the hill to try and just get out of sight from him, because he kind of went like the direction of where I was going out to the truck. So I tried to kind of create a barrier between us. By the time I got up over the hill into the beans, the wind was blowing so hard that it felt like I was in the movie Twister. And the lightning was so intense. I was like, it got to that point, I was kind of locked into like stealth mode to have him not see me or not know that I was there for so long, that once I got out of that and got to that point where in the beans, now I'm like getting a little nervous because I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, this is not good. And the lightning was so intense. Like, when I looked back to the west of me, when it would lightning, the clouds were so low, and they were so like white, and everything just looked like it was just coming down on me, and the beans were freaking going in every which direction. It was insane. And I know you, Kelly, you guys are all texting me like, where in the hell are you? And I finally got to the truck, dude, huffing and puffing. My binocular strap broke. I almost lost my binoculars in a sea of beans. Like, I'm just friggin' trucking it through, trying to get the hell out of there before I get swept away by the twister. Nobody ever sees me again. And that was like, I got back to the house and I was just like, man, I need a cocktail. That was intense.
Yeah.
I mean, that was beyond intense.
Time for a cocktail.
But he eluded me then, went MIA the next 2 days, and well, the rest you'll have to see on our vlogs and stuff because those aren't out yet. So I don't want to give it all away. But we did have one more encounter with the big bastard.
Son of a gun.
That son of a gun.
Makes
But
you want to go back.
yeah, it does. I mean, I don't know. The connection with our North Dakota family out there is pretty incredible. Just having Kelly out there, Uncle Jay out there, you and Elena were out there for a little, whatever, 4-day stint or whatever. It just, I don't know. It felt like the connection to North Dakota just grew deeper on this trip. And yeah, on the way home, I was just struggling a little bit, just feeling like I didn't want to leave. Shouldn't have left. Wanted to just stay there for the whole month of September or until the tag was filled. But all good things have to come to an end, I guess, and maybe we'll be back. Maybe we won't. Time will tell. But all in all, it was a solid trip. Just none of that North Dakota nectar, which is kind of a bummer.
It's just so free out there. I don't know how to. We always say this, but you're not. Obviously, there's been times in the 10 years, 11 years we've hunted out there that sure you bump into people if you're hunting on post that are like, oh, someone else is hunting in here. I mean, but it's not all the time. You're not like bumping into other people hunting. It just, you kind of just feel like a very non-pressured, like free way of hunting. I can't really describe it. But
yeah. You don't
just,
have even on the like, no matter where you go, you don't have neighbors making noise. You don't have,
yeah, there's just not a lot of people out there. So you can get away from pressure if you
yeah,
you can always, you feel like you can always get away from pressure. And I don't know. Yeah, it is just a free feeling. It's a lot different in the Midwest when you got so many people that might be after the same deer, or there's just your neighbors hunt, which is obviously a great thing, but then some people have crazy neighbors, and you just, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot to deal with when you have parcels that are smaller acreage stacked on top of each other, a lot of hunters per square mile. We just looked at that video that said, New York specifically, I think, is number 2 on the list right now at, what was it, 11 or 12 hunters
12.
per square mile. That's 12 people hunting per 640 acres. And that's
about a person every 50 acres.
Which is, it doesn't seem like a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't even seem like it, because you're like, most people are like, well, 50 acres is a lot, sure. But compared to like deer and how they move, it's not like, oh, there's a herd of deer on this 50 acres and a herd of deer on that 50 acres. Like, they're all going everywhere. Right. So you're all hunting the same deer, kind of. Yeah,
they're having to elude a lot.
They're having a lot.
They're having to elude a lot. And then, like you said, you throw in a crazy neighbor or two that just wants to make your life miserable. And it's just, it gets, that gets, it happens everywhere.
Oh, but we talked to so many people just in the hunting industry, whatever, just other friends that hunt, this and that. And so many people deal with a neighbor that's trying to
sabotage,
whether they just don't like hunting and they're trying to ruin their hunting, or
they like hunting and they're trying to ruin their hunting.
They're a competitive hunter and they just don't want you to have whatever. It's crazy how much that goes on in this, I don't know, in this world.
It's unfortunate is what it is. I mean, and that's where, getting back to the North Dakota thing, it's just such a different sense of freedom. It's a different sense of freedom from a hunting standpoint, because you feel like you can actually, you feel like it's actually you versus the deer. And once again, you said it, like, we've run into people out there before.
Sure.
And we've run into people that have been, kind of following the coattails a little bit before and following along with what we're doing. And it's bit us a time or two in the past, but more oftentimes than not, and we're learning as well what we can and can't put out there. But more oftentimes than not, like you go out there and it's you and the deer. Like it's you trying to figure out the deer. And the only really outside factors is Mother Nature and the weather.
Yeah.
That's it. And that, like, it kind of gets you back to like the roots of hunting and actually being able to enjoy the chase, like the literal chase, because you're not just you are chasing your game of choice. That's what you're doing. You're not chasing or blocking out, somebody else, or you're not having to deal with somebody that's trying to ruin your hunt, whatever. It's just a different sense of complete freedom. And even just in the general everyday life, it just it's kind of like they're like maybe even like decades behind the times per se in the way that they do things out there. And that to me is so refreshing because
You can get home from hunting and go to the local tavern or bar, which there's only 2 of them, and you can get a $7 or $8 burger, double cheeseburger. It will be the best cheeseburger you will put in your mouth.
bar none
Incredible.
for $7 or $8.
You can't around you just there's places around here you can't get a damn burger for $20.
No,
And
I know.
It's not a double cheeseburger.
The last night that Dean and Elena were there, me, Dean, Elena, Kelly, we got 4 double cheeseburgers with fries, and we got 4, like,
I
basically
think Pines.
pints of our own individual ice cream. 4. It was $44. $44. I gave him 60, and I'm like, just keep this because I feel bad. Like I can't even comprehend that.
But I don't know. I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome. It's like
I gotta change my battery, but keep going.
well, it just makes you want to like either lunch or dinner. The 12 days that we're out there, we're eating in town somewhere, and it's awesome to be able to support the town because it just it's affordable, and better yet, it's incredible. The meals at the cafe are insane. Every single one of them, every special they have is nuts. And it's literally the same thing late night. You go into the bar, you don't want to cook because you're getting out. I mean, it's early season, so sunset is whatever, 8:10 or 8, whatever it is. You don't get home till, by the time you get home, unpack your stuff, get undressed, put cameras on charger. It's close to damn 10 o'clock. And you're like, I don't want to cook anything right now. So you go into town, get yourself a burger. And every time we do it, we're like, let's do it again. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Well, and like you said, it's cool to be able to support a small town like that, because I don't know that without like hunters, construction workers, the duck hunters in the fall, the wave of those people coming in there, that maybe the town could survive, but like that's part of what they thrive on.
Oh yeah, the town's just so small. There's not enough people in it to suffice the businesses in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really just not. There's not. So yeah, they get a massive wave of people. The duck hunters are probably the biggest contributors.
For sure.
It's just that's probably the most populated time of year. It's just such a good area to duck hunt. But yeah, it feels good to support, but it feels even better when it's just there's good people serving you, extremely nice, no stress, and the food is just it's incredible. So it's just it's a win-win-win-win-win.
And it's funny because they probably, if the people in that town, or the people that own the bars, or they probably don't get out of that town very often, and so they don't know, they don't know that feeling that it gives us for sure. Like they don't understand that. And it's it just it's an open door town. You're not locking your doors. You're not you go up, there's a 24-hour laundromat it's literally, doors open. It's got a screen door on the front of it.
Swing screen door.
I mean, Kelly and I literally took the laundry up there the one day in the four-wheeler. Just drove it up to the laundromat and did laundry in the four-wheeler. Like, just the freedom of that is I don't know. It's irreplaceable to me. And the quietness of the land and the town is irreplaceable to me, especially, living in Nashville now. I mean, things get hectic. I mean, even where you're even where you're at in Chardon, like, there's always something going on. There's always shit going on. There's always noise. There's always cars. There's always people. There's just always something. And up there, you can escape all that. Like, legitimately, you can escape the noise. It's unbelievable.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason why I was like, didn't want to leave, because I'm like, man, like, this just feels good right now. Like, this is so refreshing.
It is. It
Yeah.
is so refreshing. It's like I said, even when you go to there's places even even up in New York, like, there's not a lot of people in our area, but there's always stuff going on.
Yeah.
Still.
Always
Or at
something
least
going.
not, for the most part. It just there's like I said, you're just up against so many people and someone's login or someone's whatever it is. They're just
Chainsaw, or somebody's on a four-wheeler, or somebody's.
it's just always something, and that's probably gets in our head more than it bothers anything. But it's more just a peace of mind of, oh, what's this person doing now? What's I don't know. And again, in North Dakota, you certainly see it. We'll be sitting in a spot, and all of a sudden, okay, someone's haying the pasture right next to you, and
Right.
I mean, it happens, but it's not like intrusive. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
When you're sitting in a stand.
They're just farming. They're just
Yeah, well, and when you're sitting in a tree stand, and and you realize that there is not a person within a couple miles of you.
it's crazy.
That's that's different. Cuz, like, I mean, your Bernie hunt, for example, last year, opening day. You were literally sitting on a beautiful food plot, one of our beautiful food plots. You had literally a neighbor sitting in the blind right on the fence line overlooking our food plot on one side, and then a couple hundred yards to your other side, the
Another
same
neighbor, yeah.
the same family of neighbors is down in the bottom, and the deer is coming out, and you recognize this, which, I mean, I give you credit, and you were dead right. The deer, Bernie, was coming out into our food plot, but he was smelling the neighbor that was down in the bottom. All the while he's coming out into our food plot, there's another neighbor that you could visibly you guys are basically watching each other. And I mean, it's almost like it feels like you're hunting in, like, city limits, where you're around a shit ton of people,
Yeah, and it's just something you have to it's just something that you have to think about the whole time you're hunting.
Right. Well, and
It's not like, if someone's on their own property, it's great. Like, I'm not worried about them. We're both hunting deer. That's
right.
great. But I got to worry about where my shooting is. I got to worry about what they're doing. You got to think about this thing all the entire hunt, and it adds a whole element to it that you just got to sift through. That's why in and it's not just North Dakota. There's other states out
Oh
there
yeah,
that have this. I'm sure Kansas, Iowa, you get places where it's like it's just you, and it's just it's a free feeling that there's not a ton of places in the U.S. that you get to experience that. I mean, I'm sure obviously there's big states, Montana and stuff like that. It's just I'm talking about whitetail specifically. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a different level of feeling when you're out there. It's kind of indescribable, but free is the best way to
best way to put it.
describe it. And when you got to head home from that, you're just like, man,
It's over.
this is it's a fun way to hunt this way. Like you feel like you own the county.
Well, you just once again you feel like it's a true hunt from the standpoint that it's you and the animals. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no there and Mother Nature.
Yep.
Other than the weather, there's no other outside factors other than a plane flying over and fucking dive bombing into the bean field that you're sitting on. But like there's no other outside factors that are going to affect your hunt besides you. Besides you.
Most likely, yeah, there's not.
I mean, yeah, it's just yeah, the feeling of freedom is just it's out of control. It's out of control. I mean, and the silence. I think that, in the world that we live in now and with how much division there is, not only just in the hunting community, but in everything, like in the world and especially our country, there's always yip yapping going back and forth. There's always somebody yapping. There's always somebody that's got something to say. There's always somebody that's like, and there's none of that up there. You don't have to fucking listen to any of the bullshit.
No,
You can
nothing.
tune out. You can tune out
And just
and
that's how
and
hunting
tune
was
in.
meant to be.
Exactly. And one of the coolest experiences, honestly, when we were up there, landowner's property that we hunt, he's got many different, he's like a Swiss Army knife. He's got many different tools and ways that he provides for his family. But one of the main ways is he's a cattle rancher. And he was adamant, like he absolutely loved that Kelly and Elena were up there. Like he loved it. Their whole family loved it. The kids loved it. Everybody loved it. Well, Joe was adamant that he wanted to take the girls to check the cattle, and he does it pretty frequently. I think a lot more frequent than most ranchers do, because he's protecting his investment, and he's just ensuring that the cattle that he raises and then sells are what he says they are, essentially. So basically what you have to do is you have to go out and you have to check to make sure and see if there's a if there's a cow that looks like it's sick, or hurt or whatever. You obviously have to take care of it. He's got like this little pistol dart gun that he can stick them with medicine. If they're sick, obviously, if they're hurt, I don't really know what they do about that, but we went out, he took us out there and essentially like took us on a day in the life of a rancher the one morning, and the girls were with us, and there's 200 head of cattle, and they're all kind of scattered out around these like hills and stuff. And we go out there and he's got his feed for the cattle just so that they all come to him, and then he can kind of do his thing and check them and stuff like that too. And I don't know, it was just cool, the reaction from the girls. I thought it was awesome, and he does a great job at educating you on what he's doing, and what he's looking for and why he's doing it. And I don't know, like it damn near made me want to pick up and move to North Dakota and be a cattle rancher. Well,
I
you're
mean,
just like, dude, you're up on those, like those rolling hills, we got up on a couple of those hills, and you can see for miles. You can
30,
see
30
for
miles.
miles, and it is so quiet. It was a beautiful day, and you're just tending to the animals.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it makes you realize what, like, so much of the world's food, but so much of the U.S.'s food comes from out, the Great Plains, that whole area, and it's not just not only crops, it's cattle too, and I don't know. To me, I kind of knew what went into it, but it's just an eye opener of what actually goes into being a rancher and
Yeah.
how they make their living, and the fact that, like, you could have 200, 400, 600 head of cattle, and you literally have to, like, it's not just, all right, let them out in this pasture and we're going to send you to, you know, whatever, we're going to sell you in 4 months. Like,
Right.
you have to check them. He's checking them almost daily,
Daily,
but
yeah.
you don't want one to die.
Yeah, what
That's
did he say?
uh,
They're like 20, it's like $2,300 a piece or something, 2,500
yeah,
bucks a piece.
and with all the costs that they're putting into, you know, beefing up these beefing up these cattle,
Well, and raising them, and
you
the
could
fuel, and
you could break even. You could make $100 a head on a cattle after you sell it. You could, obviously it could go up 500 bucks, but that's what you're trying to manage. And if you lose one of them, like he said, if you're selling them for 2 grand, 2,500 bucks a head, well, you just wiped out your profit, your margin on whatever,
5 to 10 cattle
5 to
at
10,
least.
15, if depending on how, yeah. So it's crazy the effect it could have on just losing one of them. So
Right.
you're not just going out there and saying, "No, I'm gonna raise these cattle. They're gonna graze on this pasture for the summer, and then, I'm gonna sell what we got." It's a lot more. There's so much more that goes into it.
Well, and the cool part that I thought too was we were on an 800-acre chunk, okay? There's 200 head of cattle. He's got the 800-acre chunk. I think it was divided into 4 different sections, so a couple hundred acres per section. He's got the cattle in one spot for a month, 2 months at a time, and he lets another part of that 800 acres grow up, and then he moves the cattle to that part, so they feed on that part, and then the part that they were on has months to grow back up and flourish back. It's not like you just let the cattle roam on the whole 800 acres and you're just like, see in a couple months, have fun eating that grass, and
No,
I'll
there's
come
a
back and I'm gonna make all this money. Like, no, like there's strategy to all of it.
yeah,
And
and some of the pastures he's letting them go for a year. Like, they're not touching it that year.
right, right. And so, like, from that standpoint, like, all of the thought and the strategy that goes into that, it's to me, it's amazing, with him, just him in general, the amount of crops that he harvests per year, the cattle that he raises per year, the impact that one person or one family can have on the resources that we all take advantage of is pretty incredible. And the amount of families that are still farming and doing all this stuff and utilizing that as a means to provide for their family. Not only they're providing for their family, like the resources that they are providing to all of us are absolutely insane. That's what gets me. And I think, a lot of people, especially people that live in the cities and stuff like that, and they don't venture out to places like that, they can't understand it because they've never seen it before. But that to me is so unfathomable, the impact that like one family can have, one farming family can have, or one individual can have that farms, that ranches on X amount of people. Like, how many people does his crop actually impact? How many people do those cattle actually impact? It's crazy to think about, and the thought and time that goes into managing and taking care of all that stuff, it's incredible.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of people, that's for sure. And the crazy thing, like you said, is like even the cattle, that's just a portion of his year's income, to make
Right. That's the
ends meet.
summer
Or
income.
yeah, it's a summer income, and then it's another project, another farming project to deal with. So it's just pretty incredible what farmers, ranchers do. They do for us. It goes by the wayside and unnoticed a lot, but that was a really cool experience, honestly,
It was
to see that whole process.
yeah, it was a humbling experience, and it just made you like, for me, it almost made me feel like, I wanted to do that kinda, 'cause I don't know, I'm the type of person, like, I wanna have an impact on people, and I just feel like that's so undervalued from, like, the ranching, the farming, all that stuff, all those resources that are provided, that's so undervalued in today's day and age. It's like, just go to the grocery store, grab some whatever, corn, grab some what, flour, beans, whatever, like, off the shelf. You don't know, you don't think about where those resources come, what's in that package, where that actually came from. You don't sit down to think about that and the people that were involved in getting it literally to that shelf. Um, so that impact to me is so substantial, whether it's in this country or not. And a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the beef that he was talking about, is getting shipped right over to Japan. Like,
Yeah.
we're not even utilizing all this stuff to the best of our ability. Obviously, it's a trade market, so we're getting something in return for that. But at the same time, like, to think about, he's raising cattle that are going to go, that the meat is going to end up in Japan. I mean, that's just, and it's in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota. Like, that's just insane. That's insane to me.
Yes, it is. Yeah, pretty intriguing place.
Yeah, very fun, very motivating, inspiring. Yeah, I don't know. When you get that reset, like for me, came back, obviously had the little bit of a empty feeling, little feeling of unfinished business, whatever, but also just kind of remotivated and like tooled to keep chasing experiences like that, keep chasing opportunities like that. And to keep trying to have and make an impact on the people that we have the ability to make an impact with. Um, and so, as much as it was hard to leave, like it was for me, it was inspiring and motivating, to put more effort into what we do, to try and have like a little bit more of an impact. That's just, for me, that's kind of what it did. And you get something out of every trip that you go to and go on and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, that was it.
Good shit.
And damn good double cheeseburgers.
Damn good. The best.
Oh shit, what do we got coming up here? Cuz them plots are looking good up in western New York. I seen that.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. Yeah, honestly, everything came up really good this year. We just had a good growing summer up there. It was we didn't get well we got our shares of rain, but there's been times in the last 5 years that just you get like a month of nonstop rain, and then crops are sitting in water, and it just pretty much stresses them out. And we had a perfect growing season, and have learned a lot in the past few years. So we've done things good. Wasn't for a lack of work, that's for sure. Definitely put a lot of hours in on the
Yeah, you did.
property, just even reacting to certain things like, oh, we got a rain coming, let's hit this with nitrogen and whatever. Just taking the time to do little stuff, not little stuff, to do big stuff like that makes a big difference. So I think when you put the time in, it pays off. It's definitely not just plant it and let it grow process.
No.
But yeah, everything looks awesome. We got corn that's 10, 11 feet tall. Our turnips and stuff and spots are over a foot tall. They're literally perfect.
The turnips are
Our,
insane.
our beans are waist high, and they're a little different than last year. They are loaded with pods. Everything looks great. Looks awesome.
Yeah, no, mad props to you and all the hard work that you put in up there. And I mean, it's been years and years of trial and error and learning it, and you've led the charge there. So the way that camp looks right now is insane for 200 acres in Western New York. You really could not ask for much better. I mean, you can't.
Now we just need some bucks to move in.
Get a couple bucks moving in there, and they will. I mean, the thing is, what I don't think we give enough credit for is because normally the bucks that we're after are typically already shot at, mid-November. But the impact that all this grain is going to have on our property come late November and into December for the latter part of the season up there is, I think we're going to be pretty shocked at
Yeah, and
what deer it attracts, because it's just like, it's not just food, it's quality food, like quality food.
Yeah, and definitely the cool thing is we usually, our October and first like 2 weeks of November is always super strong. But like the deer target our food then, and then it dwindles out to some extent, and then you lose portions of your deer, going to other food sources, and then you don't get deer in surrounding areas coming to your property. And our goal has been to try to change that a little bit. So we'll see, but I think it'll be a little bit of a different story this year. I think we're going to hold deer longer, and like you said, we'll probably get new deer popping up maybe late season that are, from surrounding areas looking for a different food or looking for a food source.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and you're going to get bucks that cruise in there during the rut, and they're smart. They take note of that stuff. Like, hey, there's does in here. There's a lot of food in here. Maybe I should stick around a little longer.
Maybe I should stick around. Yep.
So that'll be fun as the season goes on to just see how that progresses. And obviously, we got trying to get to our Kentucky property either later this week or early next week. Season's open in Kentucky. Season is open on LBL here in Tennessee, but will open in a couple weeks down here in Tennessee. End of September in Ohio, and October 1st in New York. And I mean, it's here, baby. It's time.
The time is now.
Time is now. We got rut week dates set. We are we got a cool little mini series coming out at the end of October called Scrape Week, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to probably stretch us through at least 3 to 4 different states, which will be pretty cool. And yeah, we just got a lot of cool things planned this year. A lot of different states that we're hunting, and a lot of opportunities to fill tags. And we're the most thing that we're excited about is bringing you all along with us. So
LFG.
LFG. Well, Dino, if you ain't got anything else, I think
It's good to be back.
a shout out to Aaron Rodgers. I just saw on my phone that the MRI came back positive. He tore his Achilles last night. That's a bummer.
The worst.
I was actually looking forward to watching him
with
the
God.
Jets. Just a new place, new energy. You could tell he felt it. He wanted it. I mean, but 4 plays in to do that, I mean, that's just insane.
Nuts.
That's just insane.
What a bummer. And what is that?
What does that do for his career?
Yeah, does that end it? I don't know.
They said it was going to.
Kobe did it late.
Yeah, they said it was going to end Kobe's career, and it didn't.
So, Mamba mentality, A-Rod.
If anybody's got it,
He does, yeah.
that dude does for sure. So hopefully he can recover and yeah, hopefully that's not how he goes out. I was hoping that he would get one more run at it. He's a good dude. I know some people don't like him and they got a bad stigmatism with him, but he's yeah.
Very intelligent man. Yeah, when you listen to him on certain podcasts, like when he's on Barstool, I'm like, this dude's he's real. He just doesn't like
He's no bullshit, and he's
he's
not
not
like
bullshitting at all.
and he's not gonna say anything because he thinks it's politically correct or incorrect, whatever. He just he speaks from his heart and he says what he feels.
Yeah.
And God bless him for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, shit's a bummer.
Definitely is.
Shit is a bummer. Well, Dino, I'm gonna get the getting's good.
Got to do the same.
You guys, we got North Dakota vlogs that are rolling out on the channel, on the YouTube channel every other day. We got another one coming out. Well, you guys are listening to this, it'll be coming out tomorrow. But we had one come out yesterday, which is a good one. You're not going to want to miss the one that comes out tomorrow. You're going to see a big old buck come in and shit like that. So if you don't already subscribe, go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We are going to have content flowing from here on out throughout the fall. Our Facebook page obviously has the same thing. Instagram has some shorter content, and that's kind of where we interact with the most people. And then Dino holds it down on the TikTok. So search Tag and Brag on all of those venues and follow along with us. Subscribe here on Spotify, and we will see y'all right back here next Wednesday as we keep on keeping on with the Goose Chasing, baby.
God bless, Tag and Brag Nation.
We'll see y'all soon.